It's the Mitch Walker Show with the Doctor. If you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, tune into the Disney Channel. And now, the man with a mind for statistics. Unfortunately, those statistics are usually odds on ponies in Vegas. Mitch the Doctor Walker.
All right. Hey, welcome back. It is Monday night. It is time for the Mitch Walker Show, and we are revved up and ready to go. Tickled to death to be here tonight. Got some good news, some bad news, and some heavy heart stuff. So we're going to jump into that here in just a second. But right now, let's kick the show off like we do every Monday night with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first things first. Tonight, I want to welcome Bradley Clayton back on the boards. He has been gone for a while, but he's back, and we're tickled to death to have him back. Looking for some great things coming up in the next few weeks, so keep that in mind. We're going to be changing a few things around as we go along, so don't be surprised if you hear something new along the way, and it's all going to be in good fun, and we're going to have a great show tonight. Lined up on the show tonight, we have got Ethan Hunter, local hot shoe. Been on a tear this year, doing really good. Got that longhorn horns up, as they say. Got him coming on. Also, a little bit later in the show, we're going to have the promoter from 281 Speedway down in Stephensville, Texas. Mr. Joe Spillman is going to be joining us and sitting in and talking a little bit about what's going on down in the Lone Star State. But it is always a lot of fun to sit back and see what's going on around the world. With the dream that happened this weekend, lots of controversy surrounding Scott Bloomquist. Dirt on Dirt was reporting that he was one of 25 drivers selected for a drug test that he did not take. Said he slipped and fell Friday night and injured a rotator cuff and gets out of the car waving both arms, hugging his wife, and just a lot of things that make you kind of go, But we'll talk about that, and we're going to be talking about the Red Clay 602 series coming up in a little bit, talking about that. Also want to remember to please keep Jimmy Means, Smut Means, in your prayers. Had a mild heart attack up in Michigan this past week, and the racing world lost a legend. Tom Mongoose McEwen passed away yesterday at the age of 81. So the racing world, we're losing lots of legends, slowly but surely, but we have a plan. It's not as good as having them here with us each and every day, but we have a plan, and it's something that we're going to be working on and pursuing with the Georgia Auto Racing Hall of Fame. We're going to take care of Georgia first, and because that's where I'm at. We're going to start here and slowly branch out. I'm going to kind of copy my buddy Bill Blair, some of the things he's doing over there, getting these stories from these legends and getting them put to where the younger generations can hear them. And that's one of the missions of the show here, is to preserve the history of auto racing, whether it be asphalt, dirt track, drag racing, lawn mowers. It don't matter. If it's a motorsport, then we're interested in it, and we're going to cover it. Lots of good things coming for the remainder of the year. Got some new projects in the works, and we are really going to just jump in there with both feet, make a big old splash, and hopefully everything will turn out all right. All right. We're up against our first commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the dream, talk a little bit about Tom McEwen, and just kind of feel our way around and see what happens. So don't go nowhere. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and you'll find me exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Camping World Truck teams, many IndyCar and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Stilo helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, HJC helmets, Orica driver gear, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS representatives are knowledgeable and focused on only one thing: making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the staff at HMS is always ready to take the time and help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
I'm Tommy Boylo, driver of number 16 Caesars Truck Racing Volvo in the Bandit Series sponsored by Minimizer, and you're listening to The Mitch Walker Show, only on the Performance Motorsports Network.
All right. I want to thank Tommy for that. That's cool as frost. I told you we had some new things coming, and that's one of them. It is what it is, and we're revved up and ready to go. I love it. All right. You know, I done some testing. You know, we had the Dream this week, and there was some 28 drivers made up the field, and you look at the ages of them. 4 of the drivers were over the age of 50. 11 drivers fell into the 40s. 7 drivers were in the 30s. 5 drivers were in their 20s. And 1 driver was below the age of 20. That was Hudson O'Neal. The average age of the top 10 finishers was 41 and a half years old. The average age of the entire field was 38. So that tells you that even though there may be a bunch of young guns, they're not winning the races. But it is what it is. It's with heavy heart that we bring you this next bit of information. Longtime drag racer, a man who revolutionized drag racing and sponsorship. The legendary Top Fuel and Funny Car driver Tom the Mongoose McEwen has passed away yesterday at the age of 81. He was number 16 on NHRA's top 50 driver list in 2001, competing in both Funny Car and Top Fuel. Although he wasn't one of their most prolific winners, he was certainly one of its most colorful. Tom Mongoose McEwen was one of the iconic figures in drag racing history. Nicknamed the Mongoose in 1964, largely as a device to entice Don the Snake Prudhomme into a high-exposure match race, McEwen only won 5 NHRA national events during his 35-year career, but his gift for gab and promotional abilities made him one of the sport's most influential and controversial figures. Through his long association with Prudhomme, a friendship that survived their racing careers and sometimes bitter rivalries, McEwen helped blaze the trail toward the sponsoring of drag racing teams. Their Mattel sponsorship, which gave way to the Snake and Mongoose Hot Wheel toys, and backing from big names like Coca-Cola and Carefree Sugarless Gum, were of major significance, but Tom McEwen was a drag racer first. Long before he first tangled with the Snake, McEwen had accrued a ton of experience in a variety of rides. He began racing in 1953 with a 53 Oldsmobile at Santa Ana Drag Strip, Irvine. Then 54 Oldsmobile at Lyons in Long Beach, California. He made the national progression to gas coupes, altered, and eventually gas and fuel dragsters, including Gene Adams' Albertson's Olds. McEwen's relationship with Adams continued for several years, and in '62 he drove Adams' Shark car, which was one of the first dragsters to use a streamlined body with an enclosed chute pack, and one of McEwen's most famous rides. Through the years, the man revolutionized the way things were done in drag racing. Not so much from a technical standpoint, but from a sponsorship standpoint. And his imprint upon the sport will live for many, many years. One of the greats, a member of the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame, the Motorsports Hall of Fame, and many more. He remained popular even in retirement, attending car shows and doing promotional work for a long line of admirers, and was a semi-regular presence at the recent races. This year he had a big hand in helping put together the NHRA Legends Tour and had already made appearances in Vegas and Houston as part of that program. We are all saddened to learn the news of Mongoose's passing, said NHRA President Glenn Cromwell. He was truly one of the most brilliant pioneers of the NHRA Championship drag racing and continued to support the sport through a number of initiatives, including our current Legends Tours, in which he played an instrumental role. Everyone at NHRA will miss him deeply. Our thoughts and prayers and deepest condolences are with the McEwen family at this time. Tom McEwen, the Mongoose, gone but not forgotten. Breaks your heart, but it is. We have lived and lived and lived, and we continue to live and try to impress upon people each and every day that we're out there, and we try to make something going our way and try to make an impression upon others in racing. And I think that's one of the things that makes the history of the sport so impressive to me and to so many others, that we struggle and try to share this history and bring it to younger generations so that everyone can be a part of it and learn to love motor racing the way we do. All right, here's what we're going to do. We have got 2 guests lined up tonight, and I'm going to touch base on this Scott Bloomquist thing, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. So let's just say on Friday night, Scott Bloomquist loaded up and went home early. What happened was he fell and injured his shoulder. Went to the hospital. He was looked at, and according to him, he was released to race. His sponsor came out and said that, Gerald Newton of Arizona Sports Shirts reported Bloomquist fell on a wet step and was at Greenville, Ohio Hospital ER getting looked at for a shoulder rotator cuff, torn rotator cuff. Dirt car rep Sam Driggers said Bloomquist was allowed to race after producing documents showing he was medically cleared to race. My thing is, and I speak from experience on this, if you have a torn rotator cuff, you're not going to be raising your arms up in the air and waving them around. That's just not going to happen unless you're on some serious pain meds. I've talked with numerous people and 2 medical professionals today, and everyone agrees that you would have to be seriously under the influence of some pain medication in order to do what Bloomquist was doing with a torn rotator cuff. So here's my thing. Either he didn't have a torn rotator cuff, or if he did say that he had some patches, which that violates the World Racing Group's drug policy. Which is it? You know, I mean, he was one of 25 drivers randomly selected before the show Friday night to go take a drug test. He reported to the tent to do his thing in a cup, said he couldn't go. They advised him to drink some water, drink some fluids, and he went back to his hauler, and that's when he turned around and wound up loading up and going to the ER. So he didn't take the drug test as required, but yet they let him race. I mean, it's just, I'm not trying to bash Scott Bloomquist, but there's just so many things there that don't add up. And I guess it's my job is to see if, figure out why and what is going on. And that's what I'm trying to do. Seems like anybody who mentions that on social media is immediately blasted by Bloomer Nation as you're a hater. You're a hater. He's the greatest of all time. Well, I ain't going to say he's the greatest of all time. I will say he is good. The man is definitely talented. He can drive a race car. Not going to deny that. Is he the greatest of all time? I beg to differ with that. Lots and lots of good drivers came before him. Larry Moore, Buck Simmons, those are 2 names that come to mind right away. But see, you get a lot of your younger generation who don't know who those 2 drivers are. They don't know the history of the sport, so instantly they think that he's the greatest that ever lived because he's the only one they've ever seen. That's one of the reasons why I am so adamant about pushing the history of the sport. Learn your history. Look at the legends like Buck Simmons. Look at what they done. They made a hell of an impact on this sport back in the day before they had the race cars that they have today that are so easy to drive. Now, I'm not saying they're easy to drive, but they are easier than what Larry Moore and Buck Simmons had to drive. Look at the Fryer brothers from back in the day. Lots and lots of drivers who made some hellacious impacts on the world of racing and never got the credit because they didn't have social media back then. And I think that's one of the things that is important today is if you're gonna compare someone and say that they're the greatest of all time, then you need to know your history. You need to know who you're talking about when you say of all time. If you say the greatest in the past 10 years, the past 15 years, okay, yeah, I can agree with that. But as far as all time, no, I don't think so. So just keep it up and we'll see what happens and we'll see how all this shakes out. And congratulations to him on his win. Congratulations to Clint Boyer on his win at Michigan yesterday. All right, we're up against our first commercial break, our second commercial break. We're going to step out, take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see what's going on. So don't go nowhere. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and you'll find me exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Camping World Truck teams, many IndyCar and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Stilo helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, HJC helmets, Orica driver gear, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS representatives are knowledgeable and focused on only one thing: making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the staff at HMS is always ready to take the time and help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Results? We've got your results right here. It's the Mitch Walker Show. Now back to the doctor, exclusively on the Performance Motorsports Network.
All right, welcome back. One of the things that we like to do is get young, up-and-coming drivers on and talk to them about what they got going on. Joining us right now is Mr. Ethan Hunter. Ethan, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Oh, man, I'm finding a frog hair split 3 ways and sanded.
I hear you.
So,
I hear you.
Tell me, Ethan, you've been on quite a roll a little bit this year, haven't you?
I don't consider it a role. You know, we set out each weekend. You know, we set our goals and just try to accomplish different things each week. It takes a lot of people to make this stuff happen anymore, and I just thank a lot of people for making, you know, my little bit of success this year happen.
Well, you know, I know from watching you run at Boyd's and calling the races up there. The past couple of years, it seems like every time you would get things going your way, something would just fall out of the sky and land right dead in the middle of your car. And it's like, man, this guy can't catch a break at all. And sometimes I wonder, is he ever going to get this monkey off his back? And then sure as the world, you'd come shining through and rocking and rolling with it. So it was always good to watch you shine. You even smiled even when days were bad.
Well, I tell you, we have had some bad luck. We've had some good luck. So we take the good with the bad and move on from week to week. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Now, Ethan, what got you started in racing? I mean, what was it that drove you to want to get in a race car?
When I was a young child, probably, 5, 6, 7 years old, my dad owned some steelhead cars that other people drove for him. He never really drove, and, I was always around the cars that he had and that other people drove, of course. And I just, when I got old enough to realize that, hey, this is what I want to do, I started racing go-karts at age 6. From about age 6 to 10, 11 years old there, we raced go-karts, and we moved into the four-cylinder cars, and then age 12, I moved into a crate late model, but ever since then, ever since age 12, 13, been in a full-size car.
Now, when you've been working your way up through the years, it's always it's chasing a dream, isn't it?
It is, and nowadays it's more of a hobby than a dream, but it is a dream just to win races. I tell you, you lay in bed at night thinking, how are you going to win the next race, and when is it going to come? What do I got to do to make it happen? And that's just a drive that we have of racers, I guess, that it never ends. It don't ever.
All right. Well, now I hate to do this to you, but I got to kind of blindside you on one. I've had Scotty Hogan was on my show a couple of weeks ago, and then we had your father-in-law on the show, Big Red Machine, a few weeks back. And when I mentioned that I was going to have you on the show, Scotty Hogan's wife sent me a question.
Uh-huh.
And she said that the first question you need to ask him is this. Says, what is something?
Shoot, man. I don't have a clue. It's it's an ongoing joke we have of our group here, and I don't know. It's quite he's not professional to say it out loud, but it's an ongoing joke, and it's pretty humorous to say the
well,
least.
it got a laugh out of you, so that tells me all we needed to know. But they always tell me, said, you won't ask him that. And
I bet you will too. Yeah.
It's like, don't
good.
dare me to do something, because I will. Now,
That's right.
I know that getting out there and racing is a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work, though, isn't it, Ethan?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I own a Snap-on tool franchise, and I work 60, 70 hours a week, and when you come home 7, 8 o'clock at night, you still got to put in 40 hours a week just to get your stuff ready for the next weekend. And yes, it is a lot of work, but I have a lot of good guys around me, that take a lot of load off of me, that help me out on a weekly basis, a daily basis. And without those guys, I have nothing. That's, all my success nowadays is completely in those guys' hands, because I don't have my hands on my racing as much as I want to anymore, and it's an enormous help to me and my racing program.
Well, now don't slight yourself. I mean, because if we rolled that 15 car out there one night and you got out of it and I got in it, it sure wouldn't go as good as it does when you're in it.
I don't know about all that. Like I said, these guys, they're pretty good. I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, it's. I sit up there, because I got the best seat in the house, I have to admit, and from watching from my viewpoint and watching you run, it is just amazing some of the drives that you have had for the past couple of months. Watching you come out, get out there, and do battle. But one thing I want to know is, what's it like not having Brian Pritchard out there?
I feel naked almost. I mean, without a big red machine out there, what are we going to do? No, Mr. Brian there, we've almost got him ready to go back to battle. In other words, and he should be back with us here in the next few weeks. But it'll be good to have him back out there for sure.
I know that talking to him at the track here a couple of weeks ago, he was telling me that that they had been looking for a car, and then he told me they had found one, and they were waiting to get everything back together, and he was coming back soon. I know that got a roar out of him, but I'll tell you, some of the best racing that I have seen has been between you and him, and I know.
Oh yeah.
There's got to be some bragging rights going on in there.
Oh, none at all. None at all. No, there is. Like I say, we race out of the same shop, and I race out of his shop now, and none of us like to lose. That's why we're racers. But it doesn't matter if I win or if he wins, as long as one of us wins. At the end of the day, it's all good.
Against him, you can always count on him racing you clean, though, can't you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've raced for almost 5 years now, the same shop. And I don't think so. Yes, sir.
I believe I hit the switch on my canoodering valve and turned it off. But now,
I'm telling
getting out, you can always count on Brian racing you clean, can't you?
Oh, for sure. Like I said, we race out of the same stable, and he'll drive me cleaner than most people, which he's always been a clean driver, don't get me wrong, by no means, but we all race to win, and we do whatever it takes to win. I said, it don't matter if I win or if Brian wins. It's at the end of the day, as long as it's one of us, it's a good night.
Now, I know that in the end, the name of the game is who gets the win. But, when you look back at it, these cars are so much work. It takes so much effort to keep them together and keep them going. And you've got to have a great support staff behind you. And one of the main things that you have to have behind you is a good woman. And you've got a good one in Megan. But, that must put her in a predicament between having her dad out there and having you out there both, huh?
Oh, I'm sure. And she's our new baby girl will be here in October, and yes, I am blessed to the fullest to have Megan in part of as in my life, and her mother Shelley as well. And I'm just humbled to say I've got and my mother as well, and I couldn't get any more blessed as a person, as a racer, to have 3 women around, our racing program just to cheer us on. And, I'm sure it's tough on Megan and, to cheer on Brian or to cheer on me. So I think she cheers for whichever one's out front, just to be honest.
Well, really and truly, Ethan, you can't blame her, you got to cheer for a winner, right?
That's right. If you ain't first, you're last.
That's right. Second place is first loser.
That's it. That is exactly correct.
Now, I know you said you're a Snap-on dealer. Do you find that going around sell it because, it's common knowledge. Snap-on sells to mechanics. It's not like they sell to carpet layers. But going around and dealing with a lot of the mechanics that you do and your customers, do you find a lot of them are racing fans?
Oh, they are. Racing fans are a humongous group in this nation. I deal with a lot of guys that race on their own, matter of fact, and the majority of them are straight line racers, but, they still enjoy the sport of racing, and, there's only one winner. So that's why, we all like the same thing.
Ethan, we were talking, I have been blessed to be on the board of directors for the Georgia Auto Racing Hall of Fame, and we had a meeting this week, and we had it over at Dawsonville at the Georgia Auto Racing Hall of Fame Museum. And walking through there, I was just soaking it up. I was on my own private little tour, and if you've never been there, you need to go. But walking through there and looking at the history of the sport, because there's trophies for days. There are just trophies from all different kinds of racing, all different kinds of race cars. The history of the sport is documented there. And, you look at some of those trophies and you think, man, if these trophies could only talk. Now, when you look back and you look at the races that you've won and some of the trophies that you've won, would you be worried if any of your trophies could talk?
Oh, definitely. For sure. And like the topic you were on there, that dirt racing the Georgia Racing Hall of Fame. I grew up racing in Georgia, out of Clayton, Georgia there, and Charles Head, he called many of my wins. I would say probably, 75% of the wins that I had, which he's a member of the program that y'all have going, which is an excellent deal. And I support y'all guys to the fullest.
Well, we appreciate that. And, you mentioned Clayton. I went to high school just north of Clayton.
Oh, my goodness.
I went to high school in Rabun Gap.
Rabun Gap. I went to Rabun County High School. It's where I graduated from. And, yeah, it's a small world, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And, it's somebody said something about, we was at the racetrack one night, and I think it was Megan that said something about you being from Clayton. And I said, Georgia? And she said, yeah. I said, man, I went to school over there. And we got to talking, and it was like, man, it's amazing, really and truly, like you said, how small a world it is that, and here we are, 4 hours away from Clayton, and we run into each other at Boyd's.
Right. That's crazy. It really is.
But there was a lot of people that came down from that area, who are some top-notch racers that come from over in that area too, aren't there?
Oh, there is. You've got the English boys. You've got Doug and Wesley and Melvin English, which Wesley's the only one of the three brothers that's racing nowadays, and we're really a tight-knit group over in that area, still to this day. We'll bounce information back and forth to one another and help each other as much as we can. They race, on a weekly basis over around the Toccoa, the Tri-County, over in Murphy area now, and which that's where I raced 95% of the time back in the day, and but still to this day, I've been over here almost 6 years now, and we still keep in contact with one another.
Well, Ethan, I tell you what, we're getting ready to come up on our commercial break. I want you to hang on with me through the commercial because I got some more stuff I want to talk to you about. But I look back on the years that I spent over in the mountains around Clayton and Rabun Gap, over in that area. Now, keep in mind, this was way before you were born because I graduated in 78. But, you go back to those times, and it was a different era then, and racing was different, life was different. But I think those 4 years I spent in high school over there were probably 4 of the best years of my life. And I love that area to this day. I still go back quite often for reunions. And speaking of reunions, my 40-year high school reunion is this year. So I'll be heading for that. Yeah, I know. I'm dating myself on how old I am. But hang tight with us, Ethan. We're going to step out, take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll talk some more racing. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the doctor, and my special guest, Mr. Ethan Hunter, and you'll find us exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father.
My husband.
My mom. My mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
It's the Mitch Walker Show. If you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, go watch NASCAR coverage on Fox TV. Now, here's the doctor, Mitch Walker.
All right, welcome back. There is just a ton of questions that I have got and people have sent in for Ethan Hunter, but I want to kind of focus a little bit on some of the things that we ask a lot of the drivers that we get on. Now, Ethan, I know that, through your racing career, you have raced a lot of great people. Do you have any one person, not counting Brian Pritchard, okay, in the Big Red Machine, but do you have any one person that you really enjoy racing against?
On the weekly to regional level now, we got Chip Brindle and those guys. They're a blast to race with. You've got Jesse Lowe out of Crossville. He's fun to race with. When we travel off, of work beside one another, and we're great friends. But overall, this area really has a bunch of great drivers. The level of competition in this area is very tough as well, and pretty much everybody that races around, the East Tennessee area kind of sticks together when they go off and race, and even on a weekly level, you can ask them if I don't have something. I'm sure one of those guys do, and they're always willing to help out in any way. So.
Well, you mentioned something there that has always. I've been around this sport for a little over 50 years. I went to my very first race 53 years ago at Boyd's Speedway, and now come full circle, I'm back and I'm the voice of Boyd Speedway as their announcer, talking about coming back home, I guess you could say. But one thing that I've noticed in all my years of being around racing, both in California on the West Coast, in Texas, up in Illinois in the Midwest, I've noticed that with dirt racers, there's a really strong camaraderie between racers, and they don't even have to know each other. Just the fact that you both race dirt, you're instantly friends. And with asphalt, you don't have that. With asphalt, it's more of a we're going to stick together. We have 2 or 3 guys that are buddies, and we pit together, and don't come in our pits. It's not the family camaraderie that you have in dirt track racing, and I think that's one of the things that has hurt the sport over the years as far as asphalt goes. And, you look at the number of asphalt tracks versus the number of dirt tracks. Dirt tracks outnumber asphalt almost 2 to 1.
Yeah, and, I hate to say it, but I don't watch much NASCAR anymore, but it's nothing wrong with NASCAR racing and asphalt racing. It's just, I think it's just more of a social norm of anymore. People like to see action and see action happen now. They want to see racing, and they don't want to wait 4 hours to watch it finish, and I've never ran a lap on asphalt, and unless a great opportunity comes, I will be content racing dirt the rest of my life.
Well, a couple of years ago, I had one of the great dirt racers of all times, Mr. Larry Moore. Him and Buck Simmons, Buck Simmons and Larry Moore dominated racing in the 70s, and I had Larry Moore on my show. And Larry is now working as a driver coach in ARCA and coaching up-and-coming drivers. And one of the things that he says when he takes a new driver on to coach him, he says, how many years of dirt do you have? And he said, if the driver says, I don't have any dirt, he says, well, go get you some dirt experience, then come back and see me.
Right.
Because, he says, because if you can't drive dirt, you have no business on asphalt. Oh. And, to hear a legend like him come out and say that tells you a lot about dirt, and you watch, I've watched a lot of asphalt drivers try to make the transition to dirt, and it takes them a while. But a dirt driver can make the transition to asphalt just almost instantly.
Yeah, I think it's, majority because we race 9 times out of 10. I call it controlled chaos. We're out of control 95% of the time, and it gets to where it feels normal for you to be out of control. Is the sad thing about it. But no, we love it, and I love dirt racing. Like I said, I've got a lot of great people around me, and I don't know what it's like to race it, in the asphalt industry and whatnot, and
well, there's
love
been
to someday.
There's been a few times, Ethan, when I've been sitting up there in the booth calling the race, and I'll be watching you or Brian Pritchard, and y'all be up there running up next to the wall. And it's like, if my body English could help you any at all, it probably add a half a second to your, cut a half a second off your lap times, because y'all get up there next to the wall and I just keep scooting over in my chair. It's like, man, you're getting awful close.
That's right. That's exactly
The
right.
fans absolutely love it, though.
And they do. And I think that, on that topic a minute ago, I think the excitement level in dirt racing is by far, superior than any other racing around. There's nothing like it as a driver, really.
I think the only thing that comes close to dirt racing is sprint boats.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever watched those guys?
I have. They're they're crazy for sure.
I had Bill Sparling, who drives Sinister Number 4, unlimited sprint boat. I had him on my show, and I said, "Man, what is that like?" And he said, it's just racing. I'm thinking, just racing. Yeah, okay. Well, he told me something I never knew. He said, in order to make those boats turn, you have to be on the throttle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, that's kind of like dirt racing. You got to be on the throttle to get a dirt car to turn. And we got to comparing notes, and it's like, it's amazing how much similarity there is in driving style on a sprint boat and a dirt car.
Oh, for sure. Like I say, when you're in the gas, these cars, they act totally different than when you're off the gas. And like you were saying, when you want to turn, you're up against the fence. I mean, it takes a lot of concentration and a lot of gas pedal for sure.
Do you talk to yourself during a race?
I don't. I just try to keep myself, under control. Because at any minute you can be in the fence.
I'm not going to name his name, but you race with a driver who I've had on my show, and I asked him, I said, do you talk to yourself during a race? He said, oh, God, yeah, from the time I drop the green flag till the checkered drops. And I said, what do you talk about? He said, well, we can't talk about it in mixed company.
I understand that for sure.
But, to sit and watch you guys, and I get to walk down and talk with the fans, and one of the things that they absolutely love is when you have the competition between, say, 2 or 3 drivers who are racing hard, racing clean, and racing for the win. That right there is what makes the show. And we had a race here, I believe it was in Sportsman, might be wrong. Once I announced the checkered flag falls, I forget who was in the race. But I walked down out of the booth after the race was over, and I was going down to the front straight, and there was 3 fans leaving, and all they could talk about was the finish of that race. Those 3 cars were side by side, and they were walking out the gate talking about it. And I kind of stopped and I thought to myself, we accomplished what we set out to accomplish tonight. We gave the fans something to talk about on the way home. And that's what you guys do each and every night you guys roll out there.
Oh, for sure. And we love it to the fullest. Like I said, there's nothing like racing. We only get to do it about 10 to 15 minutes a week when you look at it in that perspective. But there's nothing like racing and real close racing. And that's the beauty of Boyd Speedway. You got Kathy Coulter and David Duplessis, and they put effort into giving us a place to race. And my hats are off to them just to be able to. Our sport is struggling as well as other asphalt sports, but I'm just very pleased to have a place to run here close to the house.
Oh, I know you're right. Well, now, Ethan, I know, it's hard to get out there and get this car each and every week. You can't do it by yourself. Tell us real quick who you got helping you own the car every week.
Well, I have Stephen Hogan, his dad Bud, and his brother JC. They own 90% of my stuff that I race. Sherry Hogan as well. It's their mother. Brian Pritchard, Randall Chupp at Wolfpack. He's a consulting guy that I have. He's raced for many, many years, and he's been a great help to me with suspension and chassis stuff. Chuck Smith, he builds all my motors, which Longhorn race cars. And like I said a minute ago, it takes a whole group effort to make this deal go around.
Oh yeah, now you got a few sponsors on the car, and I know Ethan Hunter, the Snap-on man, sponsors a car or two as well. Who else do you got on your car that helps you with getting this car to the racetrack every week?
Super K Express was a trucking company out of Atlanta. That's my brother-in-law. He does his cousins Jody and Jake Knowles still race to this day, and but he still helps me as a sponsor. Tony does, and Longhorn race cars, Spangler sheet metal, Precision seal coating, Ron and JC's home repair, Pritchard Homes. It just takes Hoosier Tire out of Knoxville. They're a big help. It just takes all of us to make it go around.
All right, now I'm going to ask you if you will do the same thing that I asked Brian Pritchard to do. You know, a lot of times I know before the race, before the drivers' meeting, you guys are busy getting your cars ready and getting unloaded and everything. But I usually sit up there in the stands talking with the fans and walking around and just kind of keeping them entertained. And the fans absolutely love when the drivers come up there. So next race we have, I'm going to holler at you, and if you can make your way up there for maybe just 10 minutes to come up and hang out with the fans and let's talk with the fans out there in front of everybody. Can you think you can do that?
Oh, for sure. No doubt.
All right, we might get you and Brian up there talking trash with each other and get you both up there at the same time.
Yeah, that'll be fine, sir.
All right, well, Ethan, I appreciate it, and we will get you up there come next race, and love to have you guys out there entertaining the fans. You do a great job, and looking for big success and calling your name at the checkered flag a lot more this year.
Yes, sir. I do appreciate everything and all that y'all do. We couldn't do it without you.
Well, hey, you just keep doing what you do, and it's all about racers helping racers. We'll put it that way.
That's for sure.
All right, thank you so much, Ethan, and we'll see you at the racetrack, buddy. Good luck this season.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Ethan Hunter, ladies and gentlemen, driver number 15, runs at Boyd Speedway, runs all around this area. Great driver, great person, and if you need some Snap-on tools, feel free to call him. He will hook you up. Now, we do have a couple of things that we've been talking about off and on. I want to touch base with you. July the 16th, Blue Ridge Motorsports Park over in Blue Ridge, Georgia. The USCS sprint cars roll into town. Make your plans to come on over and hang out for that. I will be filling in for my buddy Brett Cantrell. He will be out of town, so I will be announcing, and it will be madness in the booth for sure that night. June 22nd, it's on a Friday night, we have the Sportsman Showdown coming up at Boyd Speedway. So make plans for that, to be at Boyd's on the 22nd. And on the 23rd, they're going to have Fan Appreciation Night and Night of Legends at North Georgia Speedway. I will probably be over there. One of my former drivers is going to be there, so I'm going to go over and hang out with him and see what they got going on over there. But come on out. 2 great nights of racing this coming weekend, or next weekend, the 22nd and 23rd at Boyd's and North Georgia. Boyd's on Friday, North Georgia on Saturday. This coming weekend will be at Blue Ridge. So just keep in mind and mark those dates down on your calendar, and then be back at Boyd's on the 30th for the Schaefer's Southern National Series coming into town. They will be rocking and rolling. We're going to be having a big time coming at you real quick. So just want to keep everybody up to date on what's going on and where you can go watch racing this coming weekend. It's when you write everything down, you have to be able to keep track of the paper. And sometimes I don't do that. So my bad. But we're rocking and rolling. A lot of new things going and a lot of new things happening. So we're excited about it. Don't forget, coming up, going to be a surprise date in there as well. The Red Clay 602 series is going to get a date at Boyd's coming up real quick. So make sure that you keep watch on redclayseries.com and Boyd Speedway .com. Their website for the date has yet to be announced, but it will be coming up. So just keep that in mind and be ready to go. All right, we're going to step out and take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to get the promoter from 281 Speedway, Mr. Joe Spillman, in here, see what Joe's got going on down in the Lone Star State of Texas. So don't go anywhere. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and you'll find me exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper cars, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette, it's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes, on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay. Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Racing is all about winning. But hey, the second place guy has family too. Now back to the Mitch Walker Show with the Doctor.
All right, welcome back. You know, nothing we love better than helping out racetracks who are helping out themselves. And one of the racetracks that is really helping out themselves is 281 Speedway down in Stevensville, Texas. Joining us right now, promoter down there, Mr. Joe Spillman. What's up, Joe?
Well, I'm actually in a shop, and I'm pulling the motor out of the stock car, which, well, I was about to say something that was bad about your last commercial about it being so gay, but I won't say that. But, yeah, we're pulling the motor out of the stock car. I actually got to race this week and blew up my son's stock car motor, so we're pulling it out so we can swap it out. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Man, I'm good. I'm real good. I'm too blessed to be stressed. I'll put it that way.
You know, first and foremost, you know, you and I usually kind of chit-chat about what we're going to talk about, and we've done absolutely none of that, so God knows where this conversation is going to go tonight. But,
and I'm good with that.
I talked to a buddy of mine last week, and you talk about too blessed to be stressed. And I read a lot on Facebook, and everybody knows I'm kind of a Facebook junkie. And you read these posts about, oh, I went to Walmart and they overcharged me by $9. And I'm thinking, they overcharged you by $9. What the hell's $9, you know? But then you think about it in the grand scheme of things, maybe to that person, that $9 is the same as $10,000 to somebody else, you know?
Yep.
So when you think about the perspective and where these people are coming from, or you or me or whoever, maybe it is a big deal to them, and just because it isn't to us, and maybe what's a big deal to us isn't a big deal to somebody else. So I kind of went on a little soapbox there, but, you know, when we look at it and we're able to race and we're able to have a good time, can we really be pissed off because somebody made a bad call or a driver drove into our left rear and spun us out or whatever? No, because we could be over in some other third world country carrying water for our family, you know? So sometimes you got to step back and think about what the hell is really important and what isn't.
Oh, I agree. So, and, you know, Joe, it's funny you mentioned that because, you know, in the Southeast, I went out to Texas, you know, a couple of years ago and met you and went down to Cotton Bowl Speedway and got to watch how y'all do things out there and seeing how they do things here, seeing how they do things in California out on the West Coast. And, you know, you get back here in the Southeast and you have so many people that get butt hurt over the least little bitty thing. And, you know, it's like they don't realize just how good they've got it. You know, they've got a great racetrack to race at. They've got a good car count. And with racetracks closing all over the place, they want to get on there and moan and groan and bitch about the little trivial things that don't matter at all in the general scheme of things. Well, if they would back up and look at it and look at how blessed they are to have a place to race and to have a good place to race, I think more people would have a lot of fun and the sport would grow.
You know, and that's 100% correct. And here's the other thing that I've started realizing. You know, 281 Speedway, you know, it's kind of out in the sticks. It's a haul from any major metropolitan area. Our closest and what I would say our biggest competitor is Kennedale Speedway Park. Kennedale is in the middle of Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. There are millions of people to draw from. And, you know, we all last year and the first part of this year, we compared ourselves to Kennedale, KSP. Man, they've got 14, you know, stock cars tonight, and we had 8. Or they had 25 factory stocks, and we had 18 factory stocks. What are we going to do? How can we? Finally, Heather, which is my, co-promoter, she said, Joe, we are not Kennedale. We don't have the facility. We don't have the, you know, the people to draw from. We don't have any of that stuff. We've got to stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. And that, I don't know if you saw my post on Facebook a few weeks ago, but I said, you know what, in a world of trying to keep up with the Joneses, it's okay to be a Smith. And that's what it was about. Because just because somebody else is doing something, and this isn't anything you do, it doesn't matter if it's racetrack or computers or doctors or whatever, comparing yourself apples to oranges isn't going to really give you a good comparison, you know? And, we kind of had to step back this year and go, you know what? Yeah, Kennedale gets 120 cars in the pits per night. If we get 75, that's the same as them getting 120. You know, and you got to just step back and think that, you know?
And, you know, Joe, one of the things that I have admired about you and Heather, because, you know, I follow all your Facebook Lives. You actually do more than I do, and I do quite a few of them. But me and you are both Facebook junkies. We use social media to get our point across, to express positive things about racing and life in general. And one of the things that I have always admired about you is you speak from the heart. You know, you tell it like it is. You're a lot like me. It's like if you want something sugar-coated, go to Krispy Kreme Donuts, because you're not going to get it sugar-coated from me. I'm just going to tell it like it is. If you like it, cool. If you don't, well, that's cool too. You don't have to like me to understand what I'm doing, because I want to promote dirt track racing in general, in a positive light. I want to give it as much exposure as I can, and I want to focus on the grassroots end of it. And, you know, with what you've got going on at 281, that is the grassroots. That is the essence of grassroots racing. And, man, I admire what you guys have got going on down there.
You know, we do. We focus on the grassroots. We focus on, you know, the family side of it. We're, you know, look, none of us are Tony Stewart down in Stephenville, Texas. We're not going to be, you know, or whoever you want to put in there, Kyle Larson, whatever name you want to throw out there. But to our local fans, we might be, you know. And we have started this year focusing on more of what I would call the grassroots, paying out of their back pocket to get to the racetrack and helping those guys. And we even started our own Facebook page called Racers Helping Racers from CNS Promotions. Listen, I'm very fortunate in what I do, and I'm very fortunate. I'm able to go race modifieds whenever, wherever I want, stock cars, whatever. But a lot of guys aren't that fortunate. And I mean, I'm in my shop right now looking out here at a stack of wheels that I won't run again. But to some pure stock guy or some street stock guy, that may be the difference in him getting a race next week or not, you know?
Yep.
And that dinged up wheel or that halfway or three-quarters used tire might go on his right front, and he might get the race next week. So we started a page called Racers Helping Racers strictly for that, to get those guys that needed that $10, $12, $30 part to get back out there that some of us might have. You know, we might not have it, but we can probably through social media find it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. You know, this is a hobby. This is fun. We're not going to make a living. I'm not going to make a living out of running the racetrack. Not this track, at least. But I have fun doing it, you know? So,
well, you know, Joe, I talked with a few promoters back at the first of the year, and I talked with some promoters in Texas. I talked with some in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Georgia, Alabama. And I asked them, I said, you know, what is your goal as far as your racetrack goes? And every one of them said the exact same thing. They said, look, this is an expensive sport. We're not trying to make money. We're just trying to break even.
That's right.
You know,
that's
right. If we make a few bucks, that's cool. We're just going to turn around and put it right back into the racer's pocket somehow. But our main goal is just to keep a safe racetrack open, give the guys a place to race that has some organization to it. It'll keep them from killing themselves out in a cow pasture somewhere. Because, you know, racers are going to race wherever there's money involved. If you put up $20 and you say, okay, we're going to square off this pasture here, we're going to put 3 cones down here on this end, 3 cones down here on this end. This will be the start finish.
Going to run through the middle of the cone. I can promise you that to start with. But yeah,
exactly. You know, but I mean, they're going to run for that $20, and you're going to have 15 or 20 of them show up for $20.
That's right.
You know, racers are racers. They just want to race, and sometimes as a promoter, you have to kind of protect them from themselves. You know, as far as safety goes. But
do you know how many times? You know, our track the drivers drive down a short chute between the flag stand and the general admission. So they drive right in front of general admission. And probably 2 times a night, I have to pull over a car because my flagman says, hey, car 16 doesn't have gloves on. Car 16 doesn't have a neck brace on. And I'm thinking, you dumbass, you got $27,000 in this modified, and you don't have on a pair of $49 gloves? What is wrong with you? But you know what? You know, you have to protect them from themselves. So.
Yep. Well, you know, there a real good friend of mine, And I'll call his name. His name's Keith Hackney. He runs ponies, 4-cylinders, here in northwest Georgia, southeast Tennessee. He got on Facebook the other night and went on a rant. He said, I ran up at Tri-County, where Ray Cook is the promoter. Ray Cook, the Tar Heel Tiger, has been racing for 1,000,000 years. He is a hell of a promoter. He's a good Christian man. All he wants to do is put a safe place to race for racers. So he gave a weight break to guys who run a Hans device or a head and neck restraint. It's a 50-pound weight break. So Keith goes over there. He don't have a Hans device, but he takes the weight break. He rolls across the scales. They looked at him and they said, hey, where's your Hans device? He said, I don't have one. You're DQ'd. You're too light. And he threw a hissy fit. And it's like, dude, it's a safety issue.
Yeah.
It's not like you got nailed for not having the right valve cover or not having the right head or not having the right tire. You got DQ'd for a safety violation. You knew the rules before you went over there because they're published. And if you couldn't bolt on that extra 50 pounds and go racing, then you don't have no reason being out there.
Yeah. But that goes to show the importance that the racer puts in winning versus his safety. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he feels that gives him an advantage to win, that's going to outweigh his, safety. And he probably obviously thought nobody would ever catch on to that. They're just going to roll me across the scales. They're going to say, hey, you're good to go. Thanks for being here, and move on. But kudos to that track for doing that and sticking by your guns. That's what they have to do. So they might have pissed off that guy, but I guarantee there's 30 guys on the sideline going, well, they do have some integrity and they are paying attention. We might go give those guys a shot,
Yep.
So.
And they'll bolt on that 50 pounds if they don't have a head and neck restraint.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. That's the thing, and it's been my point for a long time. I had Gary McCullough with Track Pro Safety Team, who runs a crash crew around this area, works a lot of different racetracks. His guys are probably some of the best in the business. They are on a car within 10, 15 seconds from the time the incident happens. They are that good. And Gary come on my show one night, one of the first times he was ever on, and we were talking about safety. And he says, drivers, he said, if you don't do anything else, please wear gloves.
That's right.
And I said, yep, I agree 100%. And he kind of paused. He says, Doc, he said, I'm going to say something that may seem kind of graphic. He said, but if this is what it takes to make drivers listen to me, he said, so be it. He said, you don't know just how important gloves are until you sit and watch a man's flesh melt off of his fingers.
Right.
And I sit there and I thought about that, and I wanted to ask him if he had seen it, but then I got to thinking about it, thinking if Gary said it, I know he's seen it.
Yeah, obviously.
And, so I've had a lot of people come to me and say, listening to things on your show has made me aware of some things that I never really thought about. And every now and then a guy will have my show on out in the shop while he's working on his race car, and his wife will be sitting out there listening. And she'll say, oh, why don't you wear gloves?
Yeah.
What's he going to say? I look at it this way. I've got a 4-year-old son, and nothing lights up my world anymore than when I come home, him come running out to my truck going, Dada, Dada, Dada. And I pick him up and I can hold him. Yep. And, if something was to happen to me and I burned my hands, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
That would rob me of one of the greatest joys in my life.
Try to play catch in the yard with no fingers. Or,
exactly.
You can turn this 100 different ways. But, and I'm probably going to reach on, we watch all these videos of the old days of them racing. The old days of the midget racing, the old days of AJ Foyt. When, I mean, they didn't even have a roll cage. They had open face helmets, if a helmet. And everybody's like, well, that's when men were men and they were really racing back then. I'm like, well, back then that was the norm. You know, that was, I mean, you're not going to go out and use a dial-up telephone when you have a cell phone available to use.
Exactly.
I mean, you're not going to go, just because that was the norm back then, that doesn't make them men back then. You know, that just makes them doing what was the norm back then. Yep. You know? But what we do is still dangerous. You know, if anything, you know, back then they were doing 45 miles an hour on the corner entry, and now we're doing 85 and 90 miles an hour on corner entry. You know, so we're still dangerous. We're still living on the edge, you know, but it doesn't mean that we have to be putting ourselves in jeopardy, you know. So
we got to protect ourselves from ourselves.
That's right. That's right. And I mean, I see it every week. You know, like I just said, every week we see people with they roll up in $50,000 haulers. It's like, why don't you have a pair of gloves on or a pair of shoes? Well, these tennis shoes are good. I mean, yeah, if you're out playing tennis with John McEnroe is great. But they're not good if you're upside down and alcohol spilling on your feet and something's going to catch on fire. They suck.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. People are their own worst enemies. So.
They are. Well, I tell you what, Joe, hold that thought. We're going to step out and take a quick commercial break. We come back, we'll shift gears, talk a little bit about some of the trials and tribulations that you've encountered in your first few years of working down there at 281 since you took over going from racer to promoter. So don't go anywhere. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the doctor. And my special guest, Mr. Joe Spillman from 281 Speedway, and you'll find us exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend.
My brother.
My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father.
My husband.
My mom. My mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication. But it's those tough choices that helped me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
You're listening to The Mitch Walker Show. You want half-naked girls, singing and sound effects? Go watch American Idol. Now, here's the doctor.
All right, welcome back. Sitting in with me tonight, Mr. Joe Spillman from 281 Speedway down in Stevensonville, Texas. And we are just on rants. Whatever happens to pop up, that's what me and Joe's talking about tonight. Now, Joe, I know, you came from a racer who loved to race, and you seen an opportunity. You took over 281 Speedway, you and Heather together, and you came in like gangbusters, just doing what you thought would work. What has been the biggest obstacle that you have faced?
I guess the biggest obstacle is the short-sightedness of people, if that's even a word. They don't look at the big picture, and I don't know. Heather and I both are pretty successful in our daily lives. She's a real estate agent. I own an excavation company. We do good. We're good at what we do, and we're successful. And we come in here, the racers at all tracks, but especially at Stephenville, said, that the track surface needs help, the pay needs help, the facilities need help. We fix all that. And yet you still have people every week that gripe and moan because, it was a little dusty on this night, or it was a little heavy on this night, or the light shined in her eye, or the lady at the concession stand took too long to get her a Diet Coke, And you're like, we're out here killing ourselves. We've invested $200,000 in this place, and because your Diet Coke was slow getting to you, and you have to have thick skin. I mean, that's all there is to it. And I'm not real good at that sometimes. I take everything kind of a little personal, and that's just me. I want everything to be perfect. I want everybody to like me. I want everybody to appreciate what we do. And when we get that complaint, it kind of discourages you a little bit. But as time has gone on, I've realized, okay, for every one of those persons, there's 20 that are going, man, this is awesome. This is better than what it has been. This is better than what that track is. This is better than, and they appreciate it. So you have to look past the short-sighted people and look at the big picture.
Oh, yeah. And, one of the things that I started doing when I started announcing was before the races, the drivers' meeting, I would go walk through the stands and talk to the fans. And I wanted to see what the fans wanted to see, what they wanted to hear about. I was wanting to tailor my part of the show to make the fans happy. And, I walked through there and I talked to them, and I'm thinking, I'm going to get a bunch of bitching. These people are going to complain. They're going to bitch about this, bitch about that. And, 95% of them were just the opposite. And They were like, man, appreciate you coming around and talking to us. That means a lot. It shows that you care. And, every now and then you would get one person, I wish y'all could move this show along in a hurry. Well, at Boyd Speedway, we start at 7 o'clock. We run 5 divisions, and we have an 11:30 curfew. The city of East Ridge has us on an 11:30 curfew. They give us a 10-minute grace period. And, if we're racing at 11:30, we got 10 minutes to get it done. And we get done before the curfew almost every single time. And to run 5 features, all the heat races, the qualifying and everything, and get done before 11:30 and get you out of there on your way home, I think we're moving the show along pretty damn quick. Yep. And so you just kind of ignore some of those. But what makes it all worth it is when you sit there and you look at the stands and you see people sitting there smiling, and they're having a good time. And that's what makes it worth it. And then, you get to talking to the kids, the younger generation, and you ask them, what do you like about dirt track racing? The cars are fast. And, I had one kid walk up to me. He's probably 14, 15 years old. He said, how fast are these cars? I said, well, when I'm calling the race, I have live timing and scoring up there. I can give you the mile an hour if you want it. He said, that would be cool. So I started announcing the mile an hour, the average lap time on a mile an hour. And people come to me and they're like, man, that's slow. These cars are going way faster than that. And you just kind of look, and it's like, well, okay, they look like they're going faster, but you got to remember.
They're going in a circle the whole time.
Exactly, and we've had a lot of great feedback at Boyd's. I know from my traveling around to other racetracks and announcing and filling in for my buddies who are announcers, filling in for them, going around and seeing how other racetracks do it. I'm really blessed to be at Boyd's because we have state-of-the-art everything. And whether it's the lighting, the timing, and scoring, we've got the best that there is. And it's a joy to get up there and get to do what I do. And when we have autograph sessions or when we have a front straight party after we drop our last checkered flag, and we get all the racers out there on the front straight, and we open the gates and let the fans come down there and hang out with their drivers and meet and talk to them, get their picture taken, whatever they want to do. And to walk around and see these fans and see how big their smiles are. And it gives me a chance to interview fans. And, if I'm walking around down there and I see you, there's a good chance I'm going to walk up and stick a microphone in your face and ask what you think about tonight's racing. And it's amazing just how happy some of these people are that, they've got a racetrack to go to. And I think we're blessed in this area with the number of racetracks that we have. We've got some of them, you talking about Stevensville being out in the middle of nowhere. Well, we've got a few of them that way here. And still on Saturday night, when they announce that they're having a race, they're going to have a big crowd. And I'll be at one of them this coming Saturday night, Blue Ridge Motorsports Park over Ridge, Georgia. It is really and truly 25 miles from anything. And it's out in the middle of nowhere, and if you don't have a map, you ain't going to get there. But they will have a full grandstand because they're having sprint cars this week. And it's fun to go in and announce at places like that because you've got fans that are appreciative of what you're doing and the effort that it takes. And that's one of the things that I've tried to do on this show is to give the listeners and the fans an idea of what it's like to be a promoter. The work that goes into track prep, paperwork. And, a couple of years ago, I teamed up with Jason Jones. He had taken over North Georgia Speedway mid-season. The other promoter just up and quit, said, I'm done. And Jason took it over. Jason had been a flagman. He had never, ever run a racetrack in his entire life, but he took over the lease to keep the track open. And we were sitting there in the office at the racetrack, and we were making plans for that Saturday night. And Jason looked at me and he said, hey, Doc, he said, you've been around this a long time. I said, well, yeah, I've been around it a while. He said, how many hot dogs should we order? And I just sat there. I said, dude, I don't have a clue. I said, I just eat them. I don't know nothing about how many we should have. So we got to calling around asking other promoters, how many hot dogs should we order? How many hamburgers should we order? And it's little things like that people never take into consideration. It's like, how much food do you order for a night racing? You don't want to order too much because it'd just go to waste, and then that's profit down the drain. But yet you got to have enough to keep the fans happy. Nothing's worse than a dirt track fan that can't get a damn hot dog. But I think that if we keep everything going the way it's going, and we have promoters like you and Heather who are willing to go the extra mile to do what it takes to make the racetrack successful, I think dirt track racing is established, and I think it's going to survive. I mean, you look at the Facebook Lives that you do. I love them. I swear to God I do. Especially the ones you do from the motor grader or when you're prepping the track, and you'll have a thought and you'll just pull up Facebook. Boom. Okay, let's go Facebook Live. And you sit there and brainstorm on Facebook Live, and you get some of your best ideas that way, don't you? I know if you've ever listened to Joe Spillman on Facebook, if you don't have him as a friend, you need to send him one. Send him a request because he is just absolutely nuts. He is just wide open all the time. He keeps going. He keeps everything going. It's like he speaks his mind. That's the thing that gets me about him. And when he gets out there, he puts his ideas out there. If you like them, cool. If you don't, well, give me a better idea. And that's the thing that really hits home with me is you have a promoter who is willing to listen to both the fans and the racers. And you have to strike a balance between racers and fans in order to make it successful. And if you've got plenty of racers, but you don't have any fans, you're not successful. If you've got a whole bunch of fans and not many cars, it's not going to be successful. So you've got to strike that balance, don't you, Joe?
Yeah. So it's a catch-22. I put a post out earlier this week. I was like, hey, we're thinking about restarting our way we line up cars. And a guy comes on and he goes, hey, we ought to just draw and run a feature race. I'm like, look, Jackwagon, our point here is to put on a show for the fans, not necessarily just so the racers have a place to race. If we don't have fans that enjoy heat races and qualifiers, they're not going to show up next week. If they show up for one race, they're probably not going to pay their $10 or $12, $15 to show up next week. And guess what? Y'all aren't going to get paid next week. So It's a fine line between the two.
You've got to be able to strike that balance, that yin-yang thing, whatever the hell that is. But you've got to be able to balance both of them, and you've got to keep them both happy. And racers are going to bitch if they was hung with a new rope. That's just all there is to it. That's their nature. And fans, they just want to see a good show.
Yep.
So
Mitch, I want to ask you a question, and this is as a promoter, and I wouldn't dare post this on my page because I know everybody could see it. I can say it on your show because I don't know how many of our fans are actually listening because we're in Texas and you're in Georgia or wherever the hell you're at, somewhere north of Dallas.
Yeah.
But on a weekly show at a weekly racetrack, how many fans in the stands are strictly there to see racing? And I mean, they're not associated with any member of any team. They're not an aunt or an uncle or a cousin or an ex-wife or a future ex-wife or a future wife or any of that. How many people are there simply to watch racing? And what do you think that number is from your area?
50-50.
And the problem is, and I think that's a good number, the problem is from where we're at in the south, further south, Texas, I think that number is like 20-80. I think
really?
There's 20% of people there that just want to watch racing, but the other 80% are there to see their cousin or their aunt or their uncle or their brother or their sister watch racing. And that's the battle that we're battling down here, and that's why I don't want to say racing is struggling in Texas, but it's not flourishing in Texas. And I don't know how to overcome that. I don't know how to beat that.
I done a thing here, it's been a couple months back, with a show of hands. I go down in front of the crowd every night that we race, and sometimes I do trivia, sometimes I just tell jokes, sometimes I pick on fans or pick on drivers. But I asked them one night, I said, how many people here are either related or live next door or are in some way associated with one of the drivers? And it was about 50-50. I mean, just, judging from arms up in the air.
Right.
And I'd say it was about 50-50. And, we get a lot of people in this area. I don't know why. We get a lot of people coming to a racetrack for the first time. We've had a guy from Belgium show up for his very first dirt track race. We've had a guy from Ireland who I took him for a ride in the fun bus. We have a short bus that we use to pack the track, and sometimes we'll stop and load up a few fans and let them get a few laps around the track riding in the fun bus. And I put him on the fun bus. This dude had a grin on his face all night long that Ajax wouldn't take off.
Right.
And he said, I'm ready to move to the States just for the racing.
Right.
And I've always said that if you can take somebody to the track, get a new fan to the racetrack one time, the show will bring them back.
Yep.
It's just getting them there that first time that's so hard.
Yep, and it's funny you mention that because I was talking to Dennis Bissonette, Stephen Wheel Starter, yesterday. Stephen Wheel Starter sponsors our racetrack. He sponsors Boone Super Nationals, IMCA. Hell of a nice guy. By the way, he's won like 5 or 6 stock car races in a row at our track. I'm telling you right now, I'm changing the motor in Zach's car, and I'm driving that bitch next week, and he might be in trouble. That's all I'm saying. Challenge accepted. But I was talking to Dennis yesterday. He said, the problem is I talked to a lot of racers, and I asked them, how many new people do you bring to the track? How many times have you brought a new person to the track in your lifetime? Not this past week, not last month, not last year, in your lifetime. And so many of the racers' answers is none, including myself. I've probably brought, I've been racing about 10 years, and I race 2 times a week, and then I've been promoting the last 2 years. And as a racer, I've probably brought less than a dozen people, That's a lot of races to 0 people bringing, ratio. That's not good,
Yeah.
And I'm one of the people that advocate the sport. So I feel for so long that the racers race and they expected the promoters to promote. And that's still true. I mean, the promoters, that's their job. But it's up to the racers to spread the word, to help invite the people, to get people in there. I don't know if you know who Joe Duvall is, races USMTF, modified guy, pretty vocal on Facebook. But he's doing a pretty good job of it. He's doing a pretty good job of spreading the word, the positive word. And even when a track sucks, he'll make a post about, well, I did good through the whoop-de-doos coming out of 3, meaning it was rough as hell, but he didn't say it sucked. He was like, he made light of the situation, know. And
keeping a positive spin on it.
Keeping a positive spin on it. Sometimes the track's going to suck. We hosted a race for the modified tour, the Red River Modified Tour. And, it was pretty big, IMCA modifieds. We had 48 modifieds. But we started at 6, on a Monday, on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
It's 103 degrees when we started racing,
Yeah.
So, of course, the track took rubber, and, of course, it kind of got one groove. But we were pretty fortunate. We had about 2 or 3 racers that kind of complained about it. But for the most part, everybody understood it was, the heat of summer, and we did the best we could, and we made the best out of the situation. But I don't know that a year ago or 2 years ago that would have been a situation. I think racers are starting to realize they've got to help. They can't just show up, race, and go home and expect to have someplace to race next year, because they won't. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Oh, yeah. Joe, hold tight. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up with me and Joe and give you some previews of what's coming up in this area, and we'll head on into the checkered flag. So don't go nowhere. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker, my special guest, Mr. Joe Spillman from 281 Speedway down in Stevensville, Texas. And you'll find us exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, Recording Artists Against Drunk Driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
Covering the entire field from the back markers to the race winner every weekend. It's the Mitch Walker Show. And now, back to the doctor.
All right, welcome back. You know, Joe and I were talking right before the break about getting fans to the track. And one of the battles that promoters face week in and week out is putting butts in the seats. And I think one of the cool things that I have tried doing in my travels is I see a lot of people every day in my work. I do overhead doors, and I service Walmart and Target and a few other different big box companies. And everybody that I see, I'm letting them know, come on out to Boyd Speedway this weekend. I try to spread the word best I can. But one of the things that one of our local promoters around here down at Fort Payne, Alabama, where the group Alabama is from, Fort Payne Speedway, Marvin Ford, the promoter down there, he prints up like 100 tickets every week for free admission, grandstand admission, and gives them out to people he knows that has never been to the racetrack or haven't been in years. And he gives these tickets away just to get people to come back to the track. And he says, yeah, I'm giving up, my part of my gate. He said, but I'll make it up in concessions because they're getting in for free, so they'll spend their money in the concession stand. He said, plus, if I can get them to come back next week, I'm even happier. He said he gets about a 30% return on out of those 100 tickets. He'll get probably 30 or 40 people that'll come to the racetrack. And anything is better than nothing. You know what I'm saying, Joe?
Well, I could probably argue / discuss on this topic for about an hour and a half straight. And I can argue both sides of the coin. So when we went to Boone, Iowa one year, me and Mike McCarthy and 2 or 3 other guys, and on the way we stopped at Eagle, Nebraska. Eagle, Nebraska, I've never seen that. There was cars lined up as far as you could see. It's a 4-way stop sign. 11,000 people in the stands. It was amazing. It was fans-free night, and they ran out of everything. Hot dogs, nachos, blah, blah, blah. Again, at this point, I was a racer. So when I come back to Texas, I'm like, y'all need to let all the fans in free. You need to just open the gates and kick the doors open, let them in free. They'll make it up in hot dogs. Well, now I'm going to argue the other side of the coin, because I've had people tell me that. You need to let the fans in free. Well, on our normal night, let's just say we have 100 people, just for simple round numbers. And let's say that's $15 a head, so that's $1,500. Do you think that if I open the doors and maybe we get 200 people in, maybe we double the number of people in, are we going to sell enough hot dogs to make up the $1,500 we lost? No. It'll never work. The numbers don't work. So one thing that pisses me off more than anything is when I get on the internet and see these armchair quarterbacks, which I once was. I was the guy that was yelling, let them in free. I just say, here, I'll offer you a deal. All right? On a normal night, we have 100 fans. That's $1,500. And a normal night, we clear $380 in concessions. All right? So you give me $1,880. $1,500 plus $380 is $1,880. You give me $1,880, and we'll open the gates. We'll let everybody in free, and you get all the money. If you clear more than $1,880 in concessions, congratulations, you won.
Yeah.
You know? But if not, congratulations, you've just become a promoter.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
So there's a fine line there between, you know, David Plato we have a Boyd Raceway as well in Boyd, Texas. He's always said the most expensive seat in the house is an empty seat in the house.
Yep.
And he's right.
Sure is.
But there's a fine line between, I'll argue, the people that are coming anyways. I don't care if that ticket's $5. I don't care if that ticket's $10. I don't care if that ticket's $20. Those people are coming regardless because they're coming to see, like I said earlier, their aunt, their uncle, their cousin, whatever race. And when you kick the doors open and just let anybody and everybody in for free, you let that paying ticket in there for free as well. You know? So that's probably not a popular opinion or view on the situation, but it's a realistic, view.
Oh, and, I've always wondered how, I've been to Fort Payne a few times, and he has a decent crowd. Now, I mean, he's not overflowing the grandstands, but, it's just about like every week he said he gives away 100 tickets, or he said, I try to give away 100 tickets. And he said, I get about 30% of them that show up. Yeah. And, it's like, well, if you can do that, more power to you. If I just want to get them there one time, if I can get them in one time.
So here's my response to that. If you're giving away 30 tickets to brand new newcomers that's never been there, that is awesome. That is exactly what you got to do. That will get, maybe out of that 30, maybe you hook 20%. Okay, so maybe six people say, "Holy moly, this is great," and they come back. That's an awesome return, But if those 30 tickets you're giving away, 25 of them were coming anyways. Yeah. What have you really gained at this point? You've cut your, and I hate to make it about numbers, but with any business, you have to make it about numbers.
Exactly.
And if you're giving away 25 tickets that were coming anyways, and you're only giving away 5 free ones, that's not going to work out in the long run. And obviously they know more than I do up there. I'm just new at this, But hey, I run a semi-successful excavation company, so
there you go. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do what is right. And if he can afford to do that, more power to him.
Well, and maybe he's got a completely different
profit in it,
Yeah, maybe there's a completely different mindset up there where he is, and if that works, then awesome. And a lot of the ideas that we do at 281 is ideas we stole, from Stewart, Iowa, or Vinton, Iowa, or Eagle, Nebraska, or
you didn't steal them, you're just borrowing them.
Huh? Yeah.
You didn't steal them, exactly. Just borrowing.
We're just borrowing them. That's right. That's right. We're just implementing them.
Hey man, we're up against the end of the show. I'm gonna have to run, but best of luck to you guys down there at 281, and thanks for coming on tonight, man.
Hey buddy, anytime, you know me, you just whatever topic you want to talk about, you bring it up, and I'll educate myself about 3 seconds before you call me, and we'll be professionals. So
I still got. There was a friend of mine that a mutual friend of ours told me one time, says, if you want a good debate and you want a good show, get Joe Spillman on to talk about crate motors. And because me or you, neither one are fans of crate motors, so we need to plan a crate motor show one night. And
you know what? You and I are not fans of crate motors, but my IMCA modified sitting out there has a crate motor.
It's got
in
a crate motor in it.
and I've got $40,000 worth of open motor sitting in my shop on the stands, and that pisses me off. But it is what it is.
And I just got named the series announcer for the 602 series, the Red Clay 602 crate series. So it's gonna be it's gonna be.
When you got 602 minutes or 604 minutes to talk, you call me and we'll talk about it.
We'll do it, buddy. Hey, thanks so much, Joe, for hanging out with me tonight.
Thanks, Mitch. Take care, buddy. Have a great night.
Anytime. Hey, Joe Spillman, going Coca Motor 281 Speedway down in Stevensonville, Texas. If you're down in the Lone Star State, you need to make your way over and check Joe out. Joe and Heather got a great thing going on down there. Real quick, we're up against the end of it. I want to remind you, this weekend, the 16th, Saturday night, Blue Ridge Motorsports Park, USCS Sprint Cars roll into town. Come on out for that. The weekend after that, on the 22nd, Sportsman Showdown, Boyd Speedway. Friday night show, Boyd Speedway. The 23rd, Saturday night show, North Georgia Speedway. It'll be Fan Appreciation Night and Night of the Legends at North Georgia. June the 30th, it'll be back to Boyd's for the Schaefer Southern National Series. Come on out, be a part of it. Take a kid racing. That's what we and Joe were just talking about. Take somebody racing who's never been. Get them hooked on the drug that there is no cure for, dirt track racing. It's something that we need to do. We need to promote our sport in a positive light. We need to keep it on the up and up. Don't bitch about it. Just load up and go. That's all there is to it. It's the most fun you can have for your buck, and nothing is more fun than a good night at the dirt track. Get a little dirt in your beer, you got a good night going. A little dust on your hot dog, it's a good night. But we'd love to have you come out to Boyd Speedway, North Georgia Speedway. It don't matter where. Just attend a racetrack somewhere of your choice, and I hope you have a great time. It has been, well, two things got to tell you. You can't change the whole world, but you can touch just one life. Keep that in mind. Take somebody racing, and we'll see you next Monday night. It's been the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and you'll find me exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. See ya.
You've been listening to The Mitch Walker Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned to Performance Motorsports Network for more race talk. For the latest motorsports news, visit RaceChaserOnline.com. The Mitch Walker Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com. A member of the Scorpion Radio Group, Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week when the Mitch Walker Show returns on Monday night at 9:30 Eastern. Until then, stay tuned for more great motorsports programming on the Performance Motorsports Network. Motorsports Network. Motorsports Network. Motorsports Network. Motorsports Network. Motorsports Network.